Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time. I know. But I'm back now. You can see like so much change, and actually so much did. And I have to tell you guys so much tea. It is ridiculous. I just came from work, so don't mind me. I buttoned the shirt, but it was like this. Obviously. No goodies at work. But yeah, so I just came from work and I was like, if I'm not gonna record it now, I'm never gonna record it. And I was like, I just have to do it because I actually recorded this video before, but I hated the lighting. I didn't know what happened, but I just hated it. So I was like, all right, whatever. I have to re-record it, but I have to make it quick because if I not get myself to do it, I'm never gonna do it, and it just never gonna happen. Right? So I was like, all right, let me get it done. And so today's tea is how I got kicked out from my apartment, my previous apartment, and why I actually moved to my new one. Because honestly, I wasn't even planning on leaving my previous apartment. I loved it there. Like, I loved the location. I didn't like the too much of a condition of the apartment. It was a little bit outdated. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was like the fridge was white, the stove and the everything was like super outdated. Like, it wasn't working properly. I kept doing maintenance requests. They will come fix it, and then they will break again. And then the same for washers and dryers and dishwashers. Like, it will always, like, there was something always would happen. And I'm the type of person, I need my washer and dryer in the unit. It's just like super convenient, and like I love the convenience of it, right? But again, everything was outdated. No matter how many times I asked the leasing office to update it, because every time I see a lot of people would move out, reminds you, I've been in a previous apartment for 7 years, right? So every time somebody would move out, I would see that they would renovate it, and it would look so beautiful. They will update like all the appliances, like the way I wanted it, right? They will put wooden floors on, and I'm like, I kept asking them, and it's so funny because I actually spoke to them last time about this issue like 3 months ago, and I told them, listen, you keep increasing my rate every year per a certain amount of dollars, regardless. Like, what am I paying for? I don't understand why you keep increasing my rent if you're not even updating anything. And all they kept telling me, like, well, if you don't like it, you gotta move out first, and second, like, we cannot replace, like, for example, your carpeting because you have so much like furniture there and stuff like that. But I'm like, okay, what about appliances? They're like, no, you have to move out. That's what their like basically overall answer was, right? So I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm a resident. I'm such a loyal resident. Being here for over 7 years. I'm trying to stay here until I buy something, and they keep giving you my money, but I'm still not getting like the services and stuff that like other people are paying for. Like, I remind you, the renovated units were really super nice, but again, they were renovated and they were charging for the same units the same amount of money. So like, it was just really like annoying to me. But honestly, like before I made actually decision, I wasn't thinking of moving because it was so convenient for me. Everything was like, they had like a perfect storage space, they had like a perfect location. It was just like, I was really happy with a lot of things, right? Nonetheless, they had like all the cons, right? That I was gonna do something about, like argue with them about and stuff like that, but again, nothing was happening. So again, reminds you, the last conversation with the leasing office that happened 3 months ago, right? Tell me why. Exactly 3 months later, I think it was a Sunday night. I was doing my laundry, and remind you, like, all the appliances are old, right? So I would put like my stuff in a washer, and then there would be like some water would come out, and it would like come out from the washer, and it would have like a little water in the hallway. But again, like, everything was carpeted, right? All the area was carpeted, so I couldn't like, there was no way to wipe it. There was no way to do anything about it. Like, the carpet would absorb it, but it was not much, right? And it will always happen. And it will always like put a maintenance request for those things, right? And then we'll get fixed, and then it would be like the same thing like a few weeks, a few months later, right? So again, the same thing, right? So I'm already 7 years in. Hello, I'm already used to it, right? So I put my all the clothes in, washing it, and I'm seeing like a little bit of water comes out, like it usually does, right? Because of the old equipment. So I was like, well, you know, it happens, whatever. And my washer and dryer, they used to be in the hallway. So I would have to, like, if I would have to go anywhere, like bedroom, living room, bathroom, kitchen, I would have to go through this hallway, right? And so, like I said, I saw, you know, like a little bit of water comes out, like once the washer started washing everything, right? But I didn't pay no mind because I was like, well, you know, things happen, you know, it's been happening for a while, the same thing, and you know, maybe it's the same thing, right? So I'm like, okay, so I went to a living room, got in college, started watching TV. It was Sunday night. And then all of a sudden I needed to go to the restroom. So I'm walking through the hallway, going to the restroom. And I'm stepping on the carpeted floor and then realize that that's a little too much water than it usually is, right? It's a little like, comes out a little bit too far. It's just like, it's a little bit too much than it usually is. But again, remind you, it always happened. Like every time I would do like a wash, there would like some water would come out. So again, nothing alarming is going on in my head, but I'm like, okay, that's a little bit too much water. Excuse me. So let me call the maintenance team, or let me put a request in, like emergency request in, just in case. I don't know. And also, they have like this drainage, like next to like a drainage pipe. I don't know what the hell it's called, but basically it's located right next to the washer and dryer. So in case of a flood or something goes wrong, you know that like you're not getting flooded. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, you know, we got everything covered over here. So they don't want to fix the equipment. It keeps breaking, but they keep telling me, well, you know, it still got some life in it, right? Then, you know, the water comes out. It keeps happening all the time anyway. And yeah, so I was like, well, it is what it is. But again, I went to a restroom. It was a little bit too much water, a little bit too much. So I was like, okay, what is going on? So I put in a request. I called the maintenance. Nobody responded, but it was like maybe 9 p.m. at night. I put a maintenance request, nobody responded. I called maintenance, nobody responded. I called leasing office, nobody responded. So like, well, I did what I could do. Everything I could do. First and second, again, nothing alarming is going on in my head, right? And so I'm going to bed. I'm like, well, it is what it is. It always happens, and they're gonna respond at some point and gonna come have a look at it at some point, because once we usually submit a request, it takes like approximately like 24 to 48 hours for them to like come and have a look at the things that you're requesting about, right? So I was like, okay, well, you know, they're gonna come over like maybe, you know, the next day, in a few days, and like see what's going on, and then we're back to square one, you know. Everything's gonna keep leaking until it freaking dies, okay? It was so freaking annoying. But anyway, so I'm going to bed. I'm like, well, I did everything I could. Peace out, right? So I'm going to bed, and the next morning, it's 6 a.m. in the morning, and all of a sudden I hear a boom, 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 boom on my door. I'm like, what is going on? And what the hell? What time is it? I need to wake up and like what? I need to go to work. And it's even before my alarm clock. Like, how dare you? Like, what is going on? I need my beauty sleep to be nice and you know, angelic for the rest of the day. Like, what the hell is going on, right? So, and then it doesn't stop. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, keep yelling. I'm like, hold on 1 second, because I sleep butt-ass naked. So I wanted to put some clothes on. As soon as I get in my closet to put some like sweatpants on the sweater, I hear the door is opening, because maintenance have the keys to like every single apartment, right? So the door is opening, and I'm like, hold on. I keep yelling, hold on, because I don't know why they're here. I don't know why they enter in my house while I'm yelling, hold on, right? And then I'm like half-ass dressed, and I don't want nobody, you know, to see all the goodies and shit. Like, come on. was like, what is going on? So I'm like jumping. So like next thing I know, I pull all my clothes out. Like I put like the sweater on, I put like my sweatpants on, and I walk out of my bedroom, and then I see like a maintenance guy, and his eyes like this big, and he was like, oh my God, you flooding people downstairs. And then, so again, remind you, the carpet is everywhere in the apartment, everywhere, right? Oh my God. So I'm walking out of my bedroom, but I'm still in the bedroom because it is like literally right next to the hallway. And so I can see like whoever entered the bedroom, not the bedroom, I'm sorry, the hallway, the apartment from the bedroom, right? So I open in my bedroom door, and now like I see this guy with like crazy eyes, like looking at me and telling me I'm flooding somebody. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I tried to step out to the hallway, and all over here is like this squishing noise where it's like it feels like you like literally stepping on the water. That's how much water it was. It was like covering the carpet. And I'm like, oh my God. Next thing I know, he like turns off the pipes, the water pipes, and like runs out of my apartment and goes like, I don't know what the hell he went, but basically tried to figure out the whole situation. So I'm like a little bit shocked because I'm looking at the floor, not because I flooded somebody, because that wasn't, I didn't do it like nothing on purpose or anything, but I'm like looking at the floor and I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of freaking water. Now I'm wondering what is gonna happen next. And I'm like checking all my personal belongings, and everything was fine. So I was like, okay, so what is gonna happen next? So, but I have to go to work. It's a Monday morning, right? So I go to work, and next thing I know, in the evening I come back, and they enter my apartment, and all of a sudden I see like 8 or 7 industrial fans, like big ass fans, working nonstop, all at the same time, pointed at that area. That area was stripped off the carpet, and like it just dirt and it just craziness going on. And at the same time, the fans are working, trying to like dry the whole area. So I'm like, what is going on right now, right? So by the time I get home, I'm calling the leasing office. I'm like, and I didn't get no notifications, I didn't get no messages, no emails, nothing is going on. So I'm like, well, can somebody tell me what is going on? Like, what is all this mess about? Right? I mean, I understand what it is about, but like, how long, what is happening? Like, what is the status of this whole situation, right? So I'm calling the leasing office, and they told me I'm not allowed to turn those fans off day or night. The floor is gonna stay stripped off until the area is dry, because they're very worried about the mold, because mold is super hard to get rid of, right? So that was like the biggest thing. You have to keep it in, like you have to dry the whole area and then put like everything back together, right? So I'm like calling the leasing office, and they're telling me, explaining this to me, and I was like, well, okay, but how long is it gonna take? They're like, well, we're going to be checking on it every day or every other day, and then we'll give you an update. So I'm like, well, okay, what the hell? So in the meantime, I'm going to bed. And I'm just like, that was like one of the worst nights that I've ever had, because it's not a fan. It's not a regular fan that you hardly can hear. It's 8 big ass industrial fans all over your apartment, and they just like plugged in and working nonstop. Like you cannot sleep. And I have to go to work, I have to do stuff. And that was actually the time of my transition to a new job, which I have another crazy tea about. I'm gonna tell you guys later. But this is what happened. So I'm like, the next morning I wake up, I have no water. Still, they didn't turn the pipes on. I have everything, again, the whole floor stripped off, so it's dirty. Like I can't even like walk around like I want to. Like I love walking around barefoot, because I wash the shit out of my floors, right? And so like I love sitting on the floors, I love walking on the floors, and I want to make sure that it's like super clean, right? So in order for me to be comfortable walking around, barefoot. So I was like, okay, so what is happening? What is happening? Because the next morning I wake up, fans is still working. I didn't get no sleep, no water, and the floor is still stripped off. And again, like, it might seem like it just, you know, it's been one day, but like, after all this happened, I don't know, it happened so fast at the same time, so much of it happened where I'm like, it literally looked like I'm going to be living like that for the rest of my life. So I'm like, okay, so what is happening? So we'll go to a leasing office and I'm like, listen, where I'm gonna take a shower, where I'm gonna do a laundry, where I'm gonna, like, what is happening, right? So they told me that they can't move me to another unit, but they can give me like a unit that just renovated, and I can like go there and take a shower or like do the laundry. So I was like, what the hell? Like, what is this, right? And I could have went to my friend's house. I could have went to my like a hotel, rent a hotel and stuff. But first of all, I didn't want to spend money on something that I wasn't even, you know, like in charge of. Like, I'm like, what the hell? Why am I doing this if I'm not even responsible for any of it, right? Then second thing, what to me was, okay, who's paying for the hotel? First thing, like, who's paying for any of it? Like, because this is not my fault. So I'm talking to the listing office and they're like, well, no, you need to contact your renter's insurance. And at the same time, like, I don't want to go to my friend's house because I'm like, I'm such a like home person. I love the way everything is in my house, right? And I love the way everything is set up to a point where like I would just hate going back and forth to the hotel or to my friend's house and like make sure that I have like enough clothes or I don't have enough, like, it's just too much movements were for me to a point where it's like, and nobody's trying to cover any of my expenses, like none of that. Like, what is going on right now, right? So I'm talking to my listing office and they tell me, call the renter's insurance and they're supposed to reimburse you for a hotel stay. I'm like, okay, all right, well, if you say so, right? So I'm calling my renter's insurance, and you have to have a renter's insurance especially if you are renting in, well, I don't know if in other states, but in Massachusetts, you have to have a renter's insurance, right? So I'm calling them and I'm like, well, this is what happened. I don't know exactly what happened yet, right? But this is what my leasing office is telling me. And they tell me that you guys will be responsible for paying for my hotel. And they're like, well, hold on. Slow your horses, right? They were like, well, did you do it? I'm like, did what? They were like, did you flood anybody? And I'm like, no, I didn't do anything on purpose, at least as far as to my knowledge, right? So they were like, okay, so any of your personal belongings are injured or damaged or anything like that? I'm like, no, everything is fine. And so they're like, well, if it's not your fault and not your personal belongings are damaged, we're not responsible for it. I'm like, what do you mean? So who is responsible for it? They're like, you have to talk to your listing office because right now we're only covering things if you are damaging your personal belongings, but we also get a deductible. So in order for you to get anything out of us, you first have to pay $1,000. And I'm like, I have to pay $1,000 for like something, again, I'm not even like responsible for. So lighter. So I'm like, what is going on right now, right? And so I'm having all this like, and again, I'm in the transition of a job, right? So I'm having all these interviews, I'm having all this like things going on, and like they keep telling me like the listing office about like my apartment, about the fence and stuff. They keep telling me like, okay, like one more day, okay, one more day, okay, one more day, a day of drying, right? And so it like kept going for like a week, I think, right? So that next week, and again, I can't turn off the fans. I still turn them off because I'm like, there's no way you want me to work and pay for this freaking apartment and not be able to sleep. Like, how am I gonna go to work if I'm not able to sleep? Right? So, but also I'm like, I'm not paying for this. What is wrong with you? And it was actually the first of the month, and they like kept sending me like those default letters, and they were like, well, where's the payment? Where's the payment? I'm like, well, you charging me for a full month's rent. And a week later, The floor is still stripped. The floor is still, you know, dirty and stripped off. The fans are still going. I have no water. What is going on? Like, why, how are you expecting me to pay for this if I don't have even the conditions that I was agreed on paying when I signed the lease? Like, no. This is not happening, right? So the next week on Monday, it's already been a week, right? So the whole weekend, me and the fans, right? I mean, of course, like my friends and stuff, like I will go visit them, but it's just like, I love my own house. Like I put a house together for my, like for me, for my energy. So it's like, I just hate like, and plus like I hate bothering people and stuff like that. And another thing, like I hate like how, you know, you always have to like get your stuff like for like a day or so, or like a few days, and then go to your friend's house, and then like, you know, share the bathrooms, share the like whatever the hell, like it's just too much, right? And so next thing I know, we're already a week in, right? It's just like the time flew by. I was working the whole time, and I would like, I would come home and I'd be like super tired. So I was like, okay, well, and they keep talking to communicating with the leasing office, and they keep telling me like, well, we have to wait more, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So next thing, and then the weekend comes, and it's me and the fans again. And I'm just like, this is so annoying. I'm not supposed to turn them off, because they're like, that's how the more they're on, right, the faster the area will get dried up. And so I'm like, okay, well, this is so annoying. So on Monday, I'm like, I can't do this anymore, right? They did give me a unit to do, like I said, a laundry and take a shower, but I'm like, you keep sending me default letters on the payment that I'm not trying to submit right now because the condition I'm living is unacceptable. The floor is stripped, the fans are working nonstop, I have no water, and I have to take a shower and do a laundry in a completely different unit. And you're not even trying to move me to another unit, right? So I'm like, what is going on? So I'm on Monday, like the next Monday, I'm going to the office, and I'm like, this is what's going on. I wrote them like a big ass letter, and I'm like, this is no way I'm paying for any of this for this month rent. I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't know how we're gonna negotiate this, but we need to conversate because I'm not submitting a full payment for this month. And so they tell me, well, you need to, and I'm like, we need to figure out these conditions because I'm not gonna continue living this. And you're not giving me, you keep telling me tomorrow. And I'm like, this is gotta end. You gotta give me a deadline. You gotta give me some type of frame, like time frame, where I'm gonna be myself again, right? So they tell me, now they tell me, oh, you have to call your renter's insurance again. And I'm like, I told you, I already called them. I don't understand what is the problem. They're not responsible. So now they're telling me like, no, actually, all the other residents that got affected by the flood, they actually called the renter's insurance already, and they figured everything out. So you actually have to call the renter's insurance, file a claim with them, and then, you know, we will keep moving forward. So I'm like, again, I already called the renter's insurance. I don't know what the hell is going on. What are they talking about? So I'm like, okay, I'm calling them again, explain the situation again, and they're telling me, no, you're not responsible for anything. They just trying to get you paid for things that you're not even in charge of because responsible for. Because they were like, did you damage like any of this? Did you cause the flood? Did you do anything? And they actually told me all the apartments that they applied, they called them. So what actually happened, which leasing office didn't even tell anybody, right? They didn't tell nobody about this. But what happened was there was a big ass fire. Somebody caused an apartment in my building, which caused the burst of pipes. And so that's why they're leaking, and that's why they flooded everybody. And I was like, well, that's nice, but nobody's telling me anything, or anybody for that matter, right? So, but they keep asking me to file a claim, use the renter's insurance, and basically be responsible for the repairs that I'm not responsible for. Like, do you see, like, I'm like, no. So a guy from the renter's insurance, like the associate, he explained everything to me. He was like, no, don't feed into it. Do not, make sure you're not paying anything. Do not file any claims. Do not do anything because you're not responsible for anything that happened. And basically it's on them right now. So I was like, okay. So the next day I'm calling them again and I'm like, listen, this is my renter's insurance said, and we need to figure this out because you keep guys not giving me any deadlines. You guys are not doing anything for me right now. And I'm just annoyed because I have to keep living in this freaking situation. Like, how long this is gonna last? Like, what is going on? We have to, like, or you moving me to a new unit, you paying for my hotels, like, what is going on? So they're telling me they have, like, I think they had like 2 days left until they will take all the fence out and then redo the carpet. And they were like, okay, don't worry about the payment yet because the apparently like the manager of the leasing office, she was on a vacation, but they basically told me they received my letter, they understand my complaints, they understand my concerns, but basically the decision that had to be made supposed to be made by this, you know, this lady who was on vacation. And so they told me like everything is getting repaired, but once she comes back, we will decide on the payment situation. I'm like, all right, cool. So in a few days, they take out all the fans. And again, it was like the craziest thing. It was so funny, like I said, because I was in a transition of getting like a new job. So I was having so many interviews and I would have to do interviews in my car and explain it to people because I'm like, I had a flood going on. And I literally had like 2 or 3 interviews a day that period of time. So I literally was like living in my car because I'm like, I was working from home the days I had interviews. And so I had them back to back, right? So I had to sit in the car to make sure that the fans are not bothering, like everything is fine and stuff. So it was so freaking annoying, like so annoying. But so yeah, okay, so this has happened, right? And then we go in the next few days, they took out the fans, repaired the flooring, and they messaged me and told me we apologize for all the inconvenience that happened, and so we'll forgive you 1 month rent, the month that you experienced like all these issues. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Okay, now we're talking, right? Because before I'm like, there's no way, like, what is going on right here, right? And basically, yeah. And then I was like, honestly, I just didn't like how they went about this situation. I don't like how my apartment looks anyway. So I'm like, why just not get up and leave? You know what I mean? And so that's exactly what I did. I packed all my shit and I moved out like this. I found my apartment literally, I think within like 5 to 10 days, honestly. And I moved out within like a month. Yeah, like before my move out date from my apartment, from my previous apartment. And I was like, oh my God, it was so crazy. But I'm trying to tell you all of this just to say that, oh, and by the way, I tried Googling the whole situation, right? So I'm like, because again, like, I can't sleep, the fence are going on, the floor is stripped, they keep asking me for, you know, for the monthly rent payment. And I'm just like, no, but I'm like, I need to educate myself and see what is going on. So I'm Googling, I'm asking my friends who like doing, you know, like the asset managers and stuff like that. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And so basically all I got that is in Massachusetts, if anything happens to your property, like to the property that you're renting from, the lender or lessor, they are required to fix the damages in a reasonable time. What that means, nobody knows, okay? It might take weeks, it might take days, it might take months. Reasonable time doesn't have a specific range. It just tells you a reasonable time, right? And so that's what everybody was saying on the internet. So they're like, in Massachusetts, you can't demand like a certain repairs to be done on time or like within a certain period of time. They are going to be done within reasonable time range. And I was like, oh my God. So like all these things is happening in my head and I'm like, this is crazy, right? And so when everything ended, when everything got replaced, and then they told me like, you know, we apologize, here's your money, I just don't like how they went about it. So at first they tried to like trick me into paying for the repairs that I wasn't even responsible for. Then they were not trying to still replace any appliances. And the part of the floor that they stripped, that's the only part they replaced with the wood. So it was just like, it was like everything was all over the place. And I was like, honestly, I think it's a sign. I think I'm done with this place. I gotta go. I gotta be out. This is crazy. So I was like, okay, this is not working. I gotta go, right? And so literally I moved out really fast, and I cannot be happy with my apartment. It's so nice. It's so pretty. Like, I can't wait for you guys to see it. But I was just, I just wanted to share my story with you guys to let you know that do not feed in, like, don't get scared. Don't get fed into things that you might have some type of feeling about, right? Like, let's say, something happened with your apartment, and they, like, the lender is asking you to pay money or to reimburse them for something, or they're not fixing things on time, or like, and then it's still like making you pay for the rent. Like, know that there are situations that happen. The same situation happened to me, right? Make sure you take your time. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you talk to as many people as you can, competent people as you can, and make sure that you make the best decision that you can. Because again, your money is your responsibility, and whatever you are renting is your responsibility. They are renting it to you, so they want to get it fixed no matter the cost. Whether you're paying, them paying, whoever's paying, they're not paying it out of the pocket, but they're trying to make it, like, get it fixed as soon as possible for their upper management, right? So they're trying to handle the situation as soon as possible, no matter the means. Like, it doesn't matter the means, right? However it's done, right? So it's up to you and only you to make sure that you are on top of things, and you make sure that you're not getting cheated, played, tricked into paying or reimbursing on doing something that you're not even supposed to be doing, okay? So I just wanted to give you this example to let you know that shit happens, annoying shit happens, right? But there's always a way out, and there's always, like, you can fix it, basically, right? So there's nothing that, because honestly, and another thing, like, I actually tried to Google in it, I tried YouTubing some type of information about the thing that happened to me, but again, not too much information was happening. So I was like, well, maybe, I don't know if there's a lot of people, who might be experiencing similar problems, but I wanted to share my story and I tell you. And so if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section, and you can email me. My email is always in the description below. But basically, don't be afraid, don't be scared. Like, ask people around, make sure you know your rights, make sure you understand the problem. Because again, in the beginning, they told me I flooded everybody. Nobody told me about the fire. Nobody told me that the pipes were bursted because of the fire. And nobody told me that actually I wasn't even responsible for it. The flood somehow came upstairs, like, to me, right? From the apartment below. So make sure you know the exact situation, and make sure it makes in your sense, because sometimes there might be not too much, like, legal, documentation or legal advice that you can, like, refer to or get from, but use your common sense, right? Like, if you're not responsible for something, or you haven't done anything to, like, don't damage the property, why are you responsible for it, right? So all I'm saying is, make sure that you're being smart about the situation, basically. And so if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm gonna go. I just go home. I'm so tired. I want to take a shower. I'm about to go to the gym, actually. And subscribe and like this video. Deuces.